Totem Pole Nation, Lambo Lemons Water Sports, presented to you by Sideline Sports Network. Today we're going to be talking about the AFC North. The AFC North, all right, is probably one of the best divisions in football. All right, you got the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and the Browns. That is the best and probably the most competitive division in all of football. Especially it goes back to all the rivalry days of the old Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Ravens rivalry, and the Ravens versus the Bengals rivalry, and the Steelers versus the Bengals as well. A very tough rivalry. Now the rivalry isn't the same because it's a new era. You can't be as physical as you want to be, but AFC North, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna get into it real fast. It's not really much to discuss about the AFC North, except for probably the Ravens, Bengals, and the Steelers. Cleveland Browns, ladies and gentlemen. You gave Deshaun Watson about $230 million guaranteed. You have Nick Chubb as your running back. You have Amari Cooper, the wide receiver spot. You still have David Njoku as your tight end. The only problem is, ever since Kevin Stefanski became the head coach, I think in 2019 or 2020, his wins have decreased every single year. The Cleveland Browns had not made the playoffs since 2020. The last time that happened, Baker Mayfield was the quarterback. Ladies and gentlemen, Baker Mayfield was a bust. So within the last 2 to 3 seasons for the Cleveland Browns, they struggled. They had a losing record. They went through a lot of quarterbacks, Jacoby Brissett. They've been through a whole load of quarterbacks. So within that line, within that scenario, the Cleveland Browns will probably be somewhat last in division. Kevin Stefanski's job is on the line. I'm just not really sold on the Cleveland Browns really doing much. Deshaun Watson has not played football in 2 years. Last year, he's only played about 6 games off an 11-game suspension. So I'm not sure if Deshaun Watson will be the same player. I could be correct. I could be wrong. But like I said, the Browns have always been the Browns. So it's not really going to be surprising to anything or to anybody at all. The Cleveland Browns would be last in the division. I got the Cleveland Browns probably winning about 8 games maybe, or the same record they had last year, 7-10. It's pretty tough. We'll see how that goes. And that depends on injuries as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pittsburgh Steelers. On the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin is coaching in the 17th season in the NFL for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin was hired in 2007. It's the first, one of the very first black coaches that ever get hired, way back in a decade ago. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He's won the Super Bowl 2008 and 2008 he's won the Super Bowl. He's been in the Super Bowl twice in 2010 as well. They lost to the Green Bay Packers. Their second year as the head coach in 2008, they beat the Arizona Cardinals. Ladies and gentlemen, I understand the Steelers have known for not having losing records, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are somewhat underachieving. Last year, they thought Mr. Trubisky was the answer, and I've kept telling Steelers fans, and they think I'm being naive and think I'm always right. But I'm always right when it comes to football because I'm that smart. But that's not the point, though. They thought Mitch Trubisky was the answer last year. And I kept trying to tell people that man was not the answer. Mitch Trubisky, they drafted Kenny Pickett last year, and I said, Mitch Trubisky's not the answer. Kenny Pickett will get the start this year. They have very good, talented receivers. They have George Pickens, very, very talented dude. They got Najee Harris in the backfield. They got Pat Freiermuth at the tight end spot. So I think they got talent. They always have a very, very good, legit defense. They signed Patrick Peterson in the offseason, so their defense has always been legit. They still have Mika Fitzpatrick. So for the Steelers, they have a good, talented defense. They will not have another losing season, but they've been underachieving the last couple of years. They hadn't won the Super Bowl in forever. And I think Steelers fans want to see some type of progress in the playoffs. They hadn't won a playoff game probably since 2015, which is pretty bad because the good Steelers teams had all that talent, but they couldn't get past the Patriots. So the Steelers, again, were somewhat underachieved. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, they will somewhat struggle because, younger side of the quarterback, teams at the AFC are going to smack them. They're going to beat up on them. I'm going to see the Pittsburgh Steelers this year are going to go 9-8. They're going to struggle all year round. They're going to be consistent, inconsistent. We'll see how that goes. They'll be 9-8. They will not have a losing record, but they will finish 9-8, and they will miss the playoffs in that division because the Bengals and the Ravens are just too strong of a team. And for the last 3 years, I think the last 2 years or 3 years, the Steelers only beat the Bengals one time. So it's just not good. So we'll see how that goes. The Steelers go 9-8. We're gonna talk about the Baltimore Ravens here. Lamar Jackson got $250 million guaranteed. They got a new offensive coordinator, Todd Moken, who was the former offensive coordinator for Georgia, who won back-to-back national championships. They signed Odell Beckham. They got Zay Flowers. The running back spot, J.K. Dobbins, if he's somewhat healthy, but the running backs have been hurt. You still got Mark Andrews in the slot, Odell Beckham. There's a lot of good things along those lines as well. So with the Ravens, if the Ravens can somewhat stay healthy, they'll be consistent to make the playoffs. But ever since they won the Super Bowl, John Harbaugh's only won 2 playoff games ever since the Ravens won the Super Bowl back in 2012. So they hadn't been successful in the playoffs. So before that, before the injuries, in 2021, ladies and gentlemen, the Baltimore Ravens started off 8-3 and finished with a losing record. They finished the last 6 games at 0-6. They went from 8-3 to 8-9. They lost every single game. And last year, as well, before Lamar Jackson got hurt, they still continued to somewhat struggle. They blew a lot of leads. They blew a 35-14 lead against the Dolphins. They blew a 20-10 lead against the Giants. Before Lamar Jackson and Angie started piling up, they were blowing leads way before that. They blew a lead against Jacksonville as well. So they were just blowing leads. So they couldn't keep a lead. They couldn't keep a lead in the fourth quarter. So that was part of the situation as well. They still somewhat made the playoffs with Tyler Huntley at quarterback, but they just couldn't beat the Bengals. They lost to the Bengals 3 times last year. They barely beat the Steelers one of the games as well. So with the Ravens, if they can fully stay healthy throughout the whole season, the Baltimore Ravens will somewhat get back in the playoffs. I do have the Baltimore Ravens winning 10 games. They will go 10-7. They might go 11-6. But that's a tough AFC division. What is the identity of the Ravens with the new offensive coordinator? They're going to throw the ball more. They're going to do more RPO. I think they're going to throw the ball more, take deeper shots. So as of now, I'm going to put the Ravens at 10-7. 11-6 might be skeptical. I'm going to put them at 10-7 because the Cincinnati Bengals will win this division. Cincinnati Bengals, you got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, you got Joe Nixon. You got 4th-year head coach Zach Taylor, who's done a very excellent job. He's a former quarterbacks coach for Rams under Sean McVay. He's done a very tremendous, excellent job. The Bengals have been competitive. The Bengals made it to AFC Championship back-to-back years. They lost this year. They had a chance to go to the Super Bowl. This team is coming back. Joe Burrow did get hurt earlier in training camp with a calf injury. Joe Burrow should be ready to play week 1. So the Cincinnati Bengals this year will probably win about 12 games in this division. The Cincinnati Bengals will go about 12-5. Yeah, they're going 12-5 in the division. I'm gonna say Bengals go 12-5, Ravens at 10-7, Steelers at 9-8, and then I'm gonna say the Browns at 7-10. So the Bengals are very talented. I think the Bengals are one of those teams that could possibly be Super Bowl contenders. As well. So they have a very good, talented roster. The defense has been very, very excellent. They lost Eli Apple, so they made adjustments as well as far as different signings. But the Cincinnati Bengals will win the AFC North, and don't be surprised you see them in the AFC Championship game, or don't be surprised you see the Cincinnati Bengals somewhat in the Super Bowl because that's just what's going to happen. The Cincinnati Bengals will win that division. So thank you, Totem Pole Nation. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It's Lambo's World of Sports presented to you by Silent Sports Network. Tune in. We'll catch you later on at Lambo's World of Sports.